Hey, yo, what's going on, guys? Got episode number 85 of Marvel YAP for you guys today. Today, we're joined by the absolute legend himself, RezSnapper, as we talk about the OTA Rama-Tut and give a nice little sneak peek of our initial thoughts on the Datamind X-Men new season coming out in April. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, we are joined by the hostess with the mostest, not my Dance, which I don't know about you guys, but I'm just super happy for Dance. Just, I don't know. I have a really good vibe going on. I feel like there's good things happening
the info's out by the time
with Dance, and he's trying to talk over me as I'm trying to do the intro. I don't know what's happening. Today is a little crazy. But Dance has hit Twitch partner, my friends, you know, which is an absolute just great news. Like it is so great to see all the work that you put in to your content and all the time you've spent, like, really paying off. Like, I'm super happy for you, and you guys all better be happy for Dance too, because it is absolutely incredible to hear that, bro.
Thanks. No, I appreciate it. I'm very stoked. Sorry for talking you over. I just felt like I wanted to get prepared because I don't want to just talk over you. I want to talk over other people today, Tuck. I'm stoked about this, but I'm also stoked about talking with Rez, who we've got on the pod.
Yes, we do have the one, the only, the resourceman himself, RezSnapper.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's nice.
You know, I actually totally forgot that you were Resourceman and then went to the RezSnapper. I forgot about that rebrand. What was the logic behind the rebrand? That's not the first question that I think we were going to talk about, but like that, now I'm wondering.
Interestingly, the name Resourceman is actually steeped in Marvel online lore as well. Basically, I'll tell the whole story, which is kind of bad, but it's sort of fine. I was on a hero. I know you told me to be PG. This is PG. It'll be fine.
Fair.
I was on a HeroClix forum when I joined it when I was like super young, like 13 or something, maybe even younger. I didn't behave very well, unfortunately, and I think I think I got banned. I did get banned. Fine. However, when I'd matured a little bit of time had moved on, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make amends for my old self. And I thought, come up with a new name, and I'm extremely passionate about HeroClix. I'm going to be like a resource for the community. So I was like, Resource Man. And but I'm like, I think I'm weird. Like, you know those people who, I'm kooky, I'm weird. I'm one of them. So I was like, it can't be an S, it's got to be a Z. And it's got to be a capital Z as well in the middle. So yeah, that's the origin of that. And then RezSnapper, I was like, RezSnapper's a fish. Let's do a pun. That won't cause me SEO problems. Naturally, it has.
That's fantastic. I mean, to be fair, I like all the lowercase stuff, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
it's the coolest things.
God,
this is gonna be not my caps. Speaking of nightcaps, you mentioned something when we were getting ready.
Yeah.
And lead us into you told what you told Tuck and I as we were getting ready and we asked you to wait. You said that you dreamt about us in preparation for this, but when you talked about that, not only did you say you dreamt about us, it was the third time?
Yeah, this is the frame break for the video today right here.
There you go.
Yeah, literally. Like, what's mental is I wasn't even going to tell you guys. I was like, this is probably too creepy to say. Done it anyway. Now I'm doing it on the episode. Brilliant. So yeah, basically, and this is weird as well because I don't typically like dream about people just because I'm going to see them or chat to them or whatever. But last night, dreamt about you guys. And so I haven't told them what it was about yet, so I'm going to do that now. So first dream, right? First dream. Nothing too crazy. We were just in a swimming pool.
Okay.
And I think, Tucker, you tried to dunk me. And then that was that. Fine. I was like, so I woke up, right? And I was like, That's weird because I just don't dream about that. As I said, all right, boom, fine. Second dream, dreamt about you guys again. This one was mainly you, Dance, right? You were dreams are a little hazy, but basically, you were you were like you were in some sort of like commercial for a travel or holiday type setting. It was a skiing one, and you were going down on skis, and then your skis connected with a roller coaster track, like tonk, and like you went down thing, and then you came out at the end, and you were just chatting for a bit. Again, I woke up, I was like, okay, unbelievably bizarre, fine. And then the third one is actually the one that I remember the least about, but we were all in a basement, and there was something wrong with my PC, and then someone tried, like there were some removal people, and they tried removing my PC. But yeah, I dreamt about you guys 3 times last night.
Okay. Well, those are very all over the place dreams too. Like
Very
there's
all
no
over the
rhyme
place.
or reason between any of them, so that's even more funny.
No, I love that. Tuck, you dunked him. I got to go on a ski roller coaster. Now I want to go on a skiing roller coaster. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, very, very, very interesting stuff with those dreams. But we also have a very interesting episode for today as well. We're going to be talking about the OTA that just happened, which honestly, guys, I had forgotten we even had an OTA. I remember things that happened, but it feels like it's been 2 weeks since like an OTA, but it's only been a few days. We're also going to be talking about Rama-Tut, which is going to be a very interesting conversation because there's a lot going on, maybe not a lot going on. I don't know. Rama-Tut's going to be interesting. And then impromptu, we got Rez on the channel. So we're going to be talking about the brand new season that comes the week after next. Of course, these are data mined right now, so subject to change. But looking at stats and potential release dates for the X-Men End of Days season.
Yeah. I think the only time we've seen a card ever get changed, I think this close. Right. Well, to be fair, we did see a change to one of the cards in the most recent OTA. But the only other time I think that we had anything sort of close was actually way back forever ago with I want to say Firestar, who got removed.
Yes.
For, like, I think it was like the week before they had to do a patch just for that. Which, by the way, do you think that I feel like Firestar was removed because of Mysterio?
Yeah, totally.
Mysterio got changed. I want Firestar.
No. Oh, well, maybe for the Spider-Man brand new day season. Maybe Sadie Sink is a Firestar, and that's why we're getting it back. Of course, that's not any of those data mine cards that, we've talked about on all of our channels that have been kind of, data mined. So maybe not, but maybe they could just sprinkle it in kind of thing, like how in like a few seasons, like not a few seasons, like last year, how with Sanctum, they released 3 new cards. But, I mean, of course, they're also not wanting to release as many cards this season, but also kind of...
She's not even in the files anymore, though.
It's weird. In Snap.fan, they actually have a file of her, but it's just like, this is what we remember, kind of.
Yeah, thing. It's like, hey, these files aren't in the game anymore, but we kept them because people really like to... Firestar would have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Rez is super, super pumped for... all these new cards. But I got a question for you, Rez. With this OTA that we just had, how do you feel Star-Lord has been affected? I know that the meta is kind of a bit different and the way you play him is maybe slightly different, but do you think this was a really good change?
Yeah, I think it was a good change. I've definitely seen much less of the obnoxious sort of Star-Lord games decks, which is it's just not a fun card to play. Well, the old version was not a fun card to play against. However, I mean, I will say my experience is slightly limited because I've been doing mainly high voltage overdrive. But I did a bit of streaming in the last sort of week or so where I hit some of the OTA stuff, and yeah, not encountering Star-Lord as much, and so I do like this change. I think it does still make stuff possible that I don't necessarily want to be able to be possible in the game, but this is definitely at least a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I don't know, I feel like I didn't think I was as annoyed with this card as I was, but it got hit and I was happy. And then I kept seeing it and I got annoyed every time I kept seeing it. And I was like, yeah, no, never mind. I'm happy this got hit. I honestly think it could still get hit more potentially. I didn't realize how much I didn't like this card until it got hit in the OTA, which is such a weird thing. But like, I wasn't a fan of it, and I felt relief once it was like hit. And then we're past this OTA, and I was like, oh wow, the more I'm seeing of this card, the more I'm just like annoyed with it as a whole.
Yeah, I think what was something interesting is you may not get the extra, I think like maybe 1 or 2 energy you would originally have gotten like with the 4-cost Star-Lord, but it's a much bigger body now. Like this card, it gets over 10 power, well over that 12 power sometimes too. And like in the decks that are really utilizing this, you get the Zola down, so you get the Star-Lord to go off again. Like I was playing it last night with some like Star-Lord like fire hair stuff too, and this being a bigger body when you revive it, it's a bigger body when you animate to infusion it. Like this card is still good. Like I'm glad they didn't like just obliterate this card. Like this card is still totally usable. It still puts into perspective needing cards in the future to potentially mitigate the amount of energy that you could actually get in a game. So you actually feel like you can do things, because there's a lot of like instances like where it feels like, okay, well, I'm playing a perfect game right now, but my opponent has, 10 plus energy of his next turn, so it doesn't really matter what I did. Which, I mean, that's kind of, just where we're at in Snap right now. You can still win games against people who have that much energy. It's totally possible, but it's like it feels a little like obscure. Like, how do I play around it? What do they actually have? And I think that's something like really interesting with like Star-Lord after the change, is the decks that he had were like really, really abundant. Now it's going to be like a more smaller group of decks maybe that are running Star-Lord. So kind of understanding what's in those lists kind of helps you into maybe those matchups of knowing when to stay or when to retreat kind of thing. But because we have no energy mitigation, that's also where it's like you kind of need to know some of these decks that Star-Lord is going to be in to still like really play around that matchup. But I agree, overall it was a really good change for Star-Lord to be a 5-cost instead of a 4-cost.
Yeah, solid stuff. I liked it. It just feels better. I think it's just a simple way to put it. I think it's just a better world in which they hit this card. It's just don't think it's going to be great for the long. They even talk about that in their OTA notes, right? Where they're like, maybe it's not super prevalent, but it's also like the type of gameplay and how much meta share even it still does have post season or whatever. They still weren't a fan of it, and so they were like, nah, let's just hit it now. And I like the logic still. I didn't expect Cannonball to get changed.
No, I did not expect this at all. Rez, what were your thoughts on Cannonball actually losing a point of power?
Yeah, similarly, I was surprised with this one. I mean, obviously you've got the combo with Mercury, which is good, but is it really so tormenting to the meta that this needed to happen? It's also only a point of power. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought they needed to do this one.
Yeah, I didn't expect this one. I didn't think they needed to, but I'm also like, I'm not personally a big fan of a lot of tech cards. And so I was like, okay, this got hit. I'm not complaining. I also didn't think it was on the list to get hit anyway. So it was kind of left a bunch of weird stuff there. It feels like it's a lot of, they really dislike the interactions this has with, and for one, it was Professor X. And Professor X literally had to get changed because of Cannonball. And now it's Mercury, and they keep having to tap it down more and more. It's like, they're really apparently just terrified of those two. The cards that stop people from moving, Cannonball they are terrified of the interactions with, and they have to keep hitting it because of that type of stuff, which is very strange.
Yeah, I honestly would have expected Mercury to go to a 3-3 before Cannonball goes to a 5-5. That's if there were to be a change there, but I wasn't feeling like oppressed by that by any means. I thought there was maybe another 5-6 card that maybe needed to be adjusted instead of Cannonball. The good old Show Lao. Still surprised that this card is ducking and dodging OTAs.
The reason why it's not getting hit,
Yeah.
it's because, I kid you, and I say this with no offense meant towards the player base, everyone sucks playing him. That's the reason why. People really don't play him well.
It's the Loki
If
thing.
you look at,
It's literally Loki
exactly
all over again.
Where it's just like this card, I think at a ban, like, and also like Move or whatever, right? Where Move was really powerful at Top Infinite, the higher in Mars, all this stuff, really powerful. But the second that it goes lower is when we'll see it actually get changed. And so I think we have a good amount of time before until Shu Lao is in more present, I'd say, in the more 80s area, I'd say, of the metagame. Until that happens, we're not really going to be seeing a lot of changes to him. And that's just, I don't like it, but I believe it's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's because Star-Lord is so easy to play. It's just we're playing all the
Exactly.
Star-Lord instead of playing the show. So I get it, but it's like, Cannonball?
I get it, don't like it.
Cannonball! And then, okay, you
debuff
called
Cerebro
this,
3.
though. You called this dance, and, like, I was in support of Frigga losing a boy to power. Like, I thought this was okay. Now, Rez, I don't know how you feel about Frigga, but we've always felt Frigga's strong, and Frigga didn't have the pieces earlier on during that season to really be utilized the right way. But now there's a lot of different ways to use this card.
Yeah, I've actually just this week I've had like probably the I'm not really known for my deck chefery, right? But I did upload a video this week where I highlighted a Frigga centric deck, which is basically you play zombie cards and then you play Hulkbuster or Penny Parker into Spider. And then Frigga, so you copy the horde, and then you get multiple hordes, and get multiple triggers on the zombies and stuff, and it's really good. And anyway, it's gone down really well, people being very complimentary. So I've always loved Frigga though. I think she works well. Like I should also say, like, the way that I approach just even thinking or discussing cards is less from a competitive side, just because I'm not a very competitive player. So I'm like thinking about, are they generally good? Are they generally fun? All that sort of thing. And so I actually really liked Frigga from the moment she came out, because I just liked her with some of the like shield stuff that I love doing, like Iron Patriot and all that kind of thing, the shenanigan type stuff you can do. And then I also want to say this is not about Frigga, but every so often I might do some Brady Bunch type stuff. So I'm looking. I don't want to distract you guys if I do that. But I just wanted to apologize if that happens and it does distract or upset you in any way.
You are totally. I am so upset right now, Rez. No, you are.
He's just trying to look at us. That's fine. No, I appreciate it. It's good. No, appreciate that a lot, Rez. Thank you. It's very good. But legitimately, all right. I mean, but also, I don't even know if I want to talk about this card as much, right? Like, I just think I said before, I didn't want it to go into Cerebro 3. And that was my point I had made whenever we talked about this in the past. C2, fine, because the deck hasn't played much. But this card wasn't hit for this. And Rez, right, if you do like, you already said you like playing the Iron Patriot, stuff like that. Iron Patriot is now slightly worse with Gambit Horseman of Death, right? Now requiring 6 total cost instead of the 5. I have an interesting thought on this card. But Rez, how much do you enjoy this card in general? Again, like in that style of deck, right? That in comparison to everything else we're talking about here.
Yeah, so I absolutely love Horseman of Death. He has made, so like I've always been, Shield has basically always been my favorite archetype, but it hasn't really felt like a viable deck for a long time. Like, as in honest, what I would call honest Shield, like generating cards, getting discounts on them with Quinjet. Like, it has not been competitive for probably years. This came out and made not only more honest Shield decks feel way better, but also like I tried to cook like a concept of a deck for a while called Shield Trap, where you block the right location as soon as you can. So like Maria Hill, Agent 13, try and get a created hand in there, and then you trick power into it towards the end of the game with cards like Victoria Hand, or it could be in my original versions I had like Mr. Fantastic. So Gambit Horseman of Death fits into that, because you obviously can't guarantee you're going to get a destroy there, but you might do. And he literally made that deck good. Like, it was completely unplayable, obviously, because it sounds ridiculous, but he literally made that deck playable. So it was like a cook that I had planned, made, and that was disappointed that it didn't work, and he made it viable. Now, the cringy side of it is like people doing the Frigga and Bastion and stuff. I'm like, nah, I'm not into this. I don't, this isn't cool with me. So I am actually happy with this change, even though it's a card that I love and he's been hit. I'm actually really happy with the change, because it feels less punishing to more honest decks.
How you feel? I know, so Tuck, you also got to do the video on it, right? How you feel?
I think only going up for one additional cost, I think, wasn't really enough. I mean, it definitely is a nerf for Gambit. But I think only still 6. I wouldn't be surprised if they do up this again. I don't know if it goes all the way up to 8, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to 7. I think Valentina was already the card that was the immediate trigger. And I think Valentina was a card that I've always loved. I've always loved Valentina. And getting the extra value there with Gambit. And then I think the bigger thing now is like people just do, Moon Girl. And I think Moon Girl, people were already doing things with Moon Girl and the Bastion stuff. Like this card's still good. Like it got hit, but it really felt like just a slap on the wrist. Like it really kind of felt to me more so like the Shu Lao change way back when it went from a 5-8 to a 5-6. It's like, oh, we lost 2 points of power, but I'm still adding 15 to the card I just played. Like it's still good.
So I think I know why it doesn't. I think I understand why this card was changed in the first place, right? Because it's a tech card. It was very prominent, and they typically have been nerfing more of those tech cards recently. But I think the bigger thing that's more interesting is like, yeah, I agree with you that the 6 doesn't. It's not even. It's a small nerf, but it's not a meaningful nerf. But I believe the reason for that is due to the fact that this card had been out, went from, I think OTAs are typically locked in about a week in advance. This card had been out, I think, for like 2 days when it actually got nerfed.
Oh, yeah, because the way they lock out OTAs. That's true. Yeah.
So I'm not surprised by this change, and I think it actually makes a lot of sense that they did such a small change at first, where it is just this bit, because they have very little information when they lock this in, when they talk about this stuff, and they're like, okay, we're just going to hit it a little bit here. We're going to hit this 1 point. And I wouldn't be surprised if in a month, or in maybe not a month, 2 weeks, we see this card get hit again. I honestly I dislike the whole like recopying it stuff. If I had an ask, it would be that they remove the capital C from the cost is my actual first thing. I don't want Valentina and Iron Page to be the best things. I want you to have to play a myriad of cards and let it be however much you actually pay for those cards. So if you don't, if you spend only 3 energy on a card from Iron Patriot or 4 energy on a card, it only counts for 4. Only counts for 3.
Like
that's
they
what I think I
fix
like.
A lot of cost though. Like they still gotta fix that.
Listen,
But yes, I think
I
that
have
would
a
actually
whole
be
list.
That would be a good quality of life change.
Because I agree for what it's worth. Like Rez, you've been talking about like that type of deck. I love that they tried to make a tech card for a specific style of deck. That's such an objective. This whole thing is a really cool way to do it. I don't like the gameplay that this enables for a generic style of deck, though. And so I do want it still hurt. But again, if you just make I think if you remove the capital C from the first bit of cost, make it so it cares about how much you actually spent on this cost. When I Bastion this stuff and I've got my Quinjet on the board, I'm then only paying 3 energy for this. And that's not 6. And therefore you stop it immediately. So it's like, that's what I want to see with this card.
What if it has to be
That's where
created
I'm
in
at with
hand too? So like maybe they add that back again. So then
maybe
it's not. Oh, I played my Thanos stones. Okay, I played my Airsham cards.
I don't even know if I hate that as much.
I don't know, but
Thanos, I haven't hated the Thanos decks. I haven't hated the Airsham.
Thanos, but Airsham, the Airsham stuff is.
I don't like Airsham in general, so it's like, you got me there. It's a fair point.
Yeah. But the next card we had changed is Gore, which I personally really liked this change because I am not a negative enjoyer and I like negative getting hits so they don't have as many free pieces to mess around with. Of course, I'd play negative in like original high voltage, but that's the only time I play it. But I think this is a really good quality of life change, and I was already starting to use this in Pixie again and like Esme things, so actually having the extra 2 points of power, I really like having on Gore for those type of decks. But Rez, how did you feel about Gore going from that -1 to a +1?
Yeah, absolutely fine with this. I literally have nothing to add. I was fine with it. Don't really play negative. Cool.
My biggest thing I felt with this card was I'm honestly just, it feels like they kind of are taking issue with Jane at a certain point.
Yeah.
And where they're like, okay, cool. Now you've hit 2 of the cards Jane can generate, right? Like you're hitting Gore, you're hitting Mystique, which by the way, it feels still strange that they hit the Gore out of if they wanted to hit the negative deck. I honestly think they should have made Null a 6/1. That's honestly where I'm at with that. It's not even being used in destroy decks anymore. It's also a buff there.
Yes. But it's a Series 3 card, and I'm wondering if that's one of the reasons they're looking at doing it to null instead opposed to like the Series 5 gore kind of thing.
Maybe.
But I
But
mean,
it's also like a arguably buff nerf, and so it's like they were okay with doing this like rework of a.
Yeah.
I don't know what that. I don't know if what there is to take in terms of a series argument, but it's like it really feels like they're just they've hit Mystique, they've hit this card, and they just really don't want Mr. Negative to be too good, and so they're going to keep making it so Jane Foster is worse with that deck and more RNG dependent, which just makes it so that the games are more 50-50 or just you have to hope for the best stuff. I'm okay with them hitting the deck in general. I just also feel like they're scared of the deck, and there should be some other action they're doing rather than just.
Yeah, I think
Keep an
also
eye
like
from-
with Null too. I think you still have to work for more with Null, whereas Gore looks at your side of the board and your opponent's side of the board for just on reveals. Whereas like if you're not into like a destroy matchup at all and you don't have like your Zola or you have your Shang-Chi, Null's just hello, I'm there. You know, kind of
I mean,
thing.
and that's a real.
Yeah.
That's another consideration
Yeah.
where we do have just less on reveals.
Yeah. So
In the game, like we've got activates, objectives, which some of them transform, but that's another issue I still take with that card. But
well, the thing is, even if we didn't have a lot of on reveals before the OTA, after some of these changes with the OTA, people have started to play a lot more of these on reveals. Which why does Mjolnir not have a point of power? Why is Mjolnir still a 0/0? Of course, Thor gets the extra point of power now. Now gets +7 instead of +6. But why does Stormbreaker have power and Mjolnir does not have power? You know?
And Stormbreaker did get to be. I think it's fair to talk about both the hammer changes.
Yes.
But Mjolnir is now giving Thor +7 instead of +6, in case you're just listening. And Stormbreaker used to have it used to be 0/3 and is now a 0/4. It's interesting. I feel like it's. I like the. I still like the change that they're putting into Thor, right? Because it's now effectively a 3/12, which is a big amount of stats. It is with the detriment that you're shuffling a card into your deck with when you play it, but you can still mitigate that downside in some ways. And it makes it so Thor is at least interesting. And I honestly, as much as I still want to say I want a point of power on Mjolnir, it makes it better to like reactivate this and keep making Thor bigger and bigger. And so it lets it, if they put a point onto Mjolnir, it makes it so Mjolnir is slightly better when you use it. But if they put the point into its ability, for it like they did here, it makes it so it scales better when you re-trigger it, which is a different buff. So it's technically I think this is a larger buff than just that, but then you could argue, okay, but then what if, Thor just gets Shadow Kinged? Well, then it's a smaller buff. I don't know. It's
what if you
it's
just
both
done
ways.
both? What if you'd given Thor the extra point of power and Mjolnir a point of power?
And I think if the Hammer Bros deck isn't playable,
Which, because they talked about that, adding Jane, potentially, they said, we're still looking at this, maybe Jane can also wield some of this weaponry. That's not the exact wording,
they didn't
but it
say
was
that.
some...
Nope, they didn't say that, just so you know. They didn't say that. They did not say that. I'll pull, okay, Rez, you talk about it. I'm going to pull up the exact thing because I know what you're talking about, and I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly.
So I really like this change. Haven't played Hammer Bros stuff in a while, but it has always been a fun sort of. I really like decks that. In fact, I get bullied by one of my mates because I like decks that play on curve so much, and so having that methodical pattern of like King Eitri on 1, whatever you would play on 2. Don't have an example. Thor, and then Beta Ray Bill, and then Jane, and then Odin or Misery or whatever you're doing. I just really like that play pattern and style, and also just I think it's important that the most iconic characters are good and playable, and so Thor here now feels very strong, and I would agree. I don't know why Mjolnir can't just have a point of power. I don't think it does too much, but it can make the difference in those just edge cases.
Yeah. Very interesting.
On both those things, because actually they answered, but which, by the way, Glenn answered, and he's no longer at second dinner. By the way, best of luck to you, Glenn. He's doing a job at Fanatics now, I think. Sick for him. I'm stoked. I love the balance he's done. Gonna miss him, but great that he's doing better and better things with his time. So both of the things that were talked about have been answered by Glenn, which, by the way, we're losing Team Answers. Team Answers is going to be like a near dead channel now that Glenn's no longer in the game. I'm pretty sure, because Glenn is the one who answered most. We will be seeing far less answers in there, which is going to be unfortunate. But honestly, I think it's a shift that is expected to happen. But anyway, so for one, in answer to the question where someone asked why wasn't Mjolnir given a point of power, and Glenn said they prefer to buff cards directly, and they buffed Stormbreaker this way in the past because buffs to Bill are worth more than 1 power, so they're not as straightforward. Bill is the unique case here, not Thor. Is word for word what he says on that point. However, Tucky, when you said they were potentially considering the Thor and Bill, he said the question was, has there been any consideration to do it that way for them working with each other? They didn't mention Jane in the specific question, but Glenn said in response to that, he said no. He said not really. There's not been any consideration.
I'm not trying to get Thor and Bill to work with each other. And in my context today, I'm talking about Jade getting Mjolnir buffs.
The reason they said that was because they said it would basically make Jane a Thor-only card because we'd have to deduct enough power from her to compensate for how consistently she can retrieve Mjolnir when it is available to her. And he did say it's fair to say that she is already too weak in most other capacities. So while they've been reluctant to make that change in the past, with a larger card pool and more variation, her role may need to narrow, and that is one way we could do that. So he said, if it has to happen, it will happen, but he's not confirming that in the slightest.
Okay.
Anyway, so answers to every single point that was brought up have been answered by Glenn. Whether or not you like him, there you go.
Yeah, still don't like him. But as we go on, we still have a couple more cards to talk about here. Like Strange Frame going to a 2/2.
Cool.
Yay.
Right? Yeah, cool. Surprised to see this one. Didn't know it was on the radar in the slightest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not seen it that much. Cool.
No issues.
Yeah, okay.
I think there's one of these, out of every single change they did, there is one change I think is questionable. And I think it's the last one we'll talk about.
What about Kyra to a 3/5 dance?
Cool. It literally doesn't, like, it's, Kyra got a point of power.
Mm-hmm.
+1, -1s, right? People always say, like, okay, cool, you're just doing +1, -1s. They do matter. And Kyra does matter a little bit more now, and she should have been this way probably for a bit. Don't know if I care still, but cool.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Just
good, cool for a man like Ozzy.
Yeah, all right.
Decent.
Weapon X went to a 2/3. I'm waiting for this to be a 2/4. Like, I have played Weapon X, and I enjoy Weapon X, and I've had great times with Weapon X, but I'm waiting for this to be a 2/4.
Yeah, you enjoying your weapon is no, sorry. I do apologize. Dance takes big sip nervously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this is cool. This is a card. This must be one of the cards that I have experimented with the least. I played it when it came out, barely ever since. Actually, no, actually that's sort of a lie. I do like it in Grand Arena, but I mean that's sort of a different thing.
When you can guaranteed get it. That's a really great card when you can have it on turn 2.
Otherwise, I've honestly barely played it. I want to experiment more. I don't know if is there enough support to differentiate this enough from normal destroy? I don't. There may well be. It may just be because I'm bad at the game. But yeah,
I've been playing him in a rock hybrid deck, with Ozymandias and also with Morgan Le Fay. So I can destroy my rocks and then also get them back for potential Ozymandias things. And then I played another version where I leaned way more into the destroy side. And I was using Lady Deathstrike because I was seeing a lot of like Cerebro 3 and stuff. So instead of Ozymandias,
cool.
I went full destroy with LDS. And like I've been getting this guy to like 14 power, 20 plus power, like into Gambit matchups too. You know, you put enough rocks on the board, Gambit just hits the rocks. And, you know, your Weapon X scales. So, like, there's definitely opportunities where this card can, you know, scale. But, like, this card has to be on the board. And I think, like, Dance said, too, is, like, well, at least you draw the card. You have the card in Grand Arena. And that's, like, one of the biggest downsides with this is making sure you have the card. And then it's like, well, then I also need cards to destroy the cards to be able to get the value here. And I can't have a lot of, like, my destroy cards necessarily in the same row as, you know, Weapon X, unless it is like a Killmonger or it's like a fastball special kind of thing. So like there's some interesting stuff there, but I did have some really good success with this card prior even to the OTA stuff, but I think I got pretty lucky. But there were some fun decks.
I think that was one of the decks I remember you talking with me about, where it's like sorry, Rez,
no, go for it.
Anyway, Okay.
I was just
anyway,
going to say, would he be too crazy if he tracked, even if he's not on the board?
Like ongoing?
Yeah.
I do kind of think he would be.
Yeah, like
I
if
do
he,
kinda feel like
if he tracked like Wild Child kind of thing, I think this card would be a crazy scaler. You'd have to make him a higher cost, I think, if you wanted to make him ongoing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like Weapon X is in a really rough spot. I don't think this is going to be a 2/4. If they change this card, I think they're doing one of two things. One, it's a very minor buff, and I don't even know if it's worthwhile, but they would remove other from the Weapon X thing, and it says remove the word your. So it said after one of the other cards is destroyed, just make it so it's any of the cards, including opponent side. Secondarily, you'd have to lose power for it, but it goes to like a 2/1, and then you make it start with +2 immediately.
Okay, if it starts with +2, this is where I'm gonna change like an argument I had with another card we talked about every single week, like with Bishop. If this is gonna be a +2, this needs to be like a 2/0. If this is gonna be starting out at 2, and then it trickles to the +3, +4 kind of stuff.
Yeah,
this definitely needs to be at least a minimum. It would have to be 2/0, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a 3/0. Because if it tracks your opponent's cards as well, it has to be a 3 cost or higher. If it's just your cards, I like just the 2/0. Because because the snowball you would get too, like you Squirrel Girl, let's say just in the Rocks meta right now. You have a Squirrel Girl on the board, your opponent plays a Debris or a Rhino, right? And then you have this on the board, you Killmonger the next turn, and that is 6 destroys. So it goes +2 3 times, so it gets +6, and then it gets +3 3 times. So that turn, it gets +15 power in one turn if it was the +2 into the +3, and then counter your opponent's cards. So like I think it would have to be like a 3 cost minimum, because that's crazy start. Which is why looking at like the Bishop stuff, it's like you can't do the Bishop stuff if you're gonna do that, you know. So I will
say I did like the fact that this Weapon X. I'm making a point not to talk about it because it's not gonna be a bit. I don't want it to be a bit anyway. But what I would say is I like the fact that I liked what you did in particular, because you did actually have a whole deck that you pulled for this guy. I remember you talking with me about this in advance, and you were like, "Hey, I'm dropping this with when the OTA dropped." Like you didn't even do an OTA vid, which is fun.
Yep.
You dropped a video for this deck because the card got buffed, right? And that's sick, and that's a cool thing, and I like that. If y'all haven't seen it, you should go check out that video over on Tucker's YouTube, because you're already most likely here watching it. Go over. It's going to be youtube.com/@Tucker. He put out a video about that. I say it's new, but he's already done 3 other videos since then. It's fantastic. Maybe 4 by the time this one's come out. I don't know. Anyway, go check it out. It's absolutely great. And while you're there, go over to his Twitch, to his TikTok, to his Twitter. He posts on all the places. He is a fantastic guy. He's got it everywhere. He's got it going on. And so he deserves all the love, all the support. Please, TUCCRR, everywhere that you want to get your Snap content. And I'm going to talk about Rez later.
Including in your dreams as well.
True. And in your pools. And basements. Pools and basements. That's where Tucker is.
Whoa. Okay, we're gonna.
But I think. I think the only change this OTA that was problematic potentially is Viv Vision, and I think this card is amazing now. This card is so good. This is
agreed. I'm a big Viv fan. I've been actively putting her in most decks that I make, even when she was a 3. I really like the sort of mini puzzle that you play with yourself in games that your opponent doesn't. The mini puzzle that you play with yourself, which your opponent might not.
You didn't have to say play with yourself twice in a row, just to make that very clear. That was not a phrasing that anyone said you had to do. Just wanted to make sure that was very clear.
Hey, I'm sorry. But you play like, especially with like the recent busts like Nightcrawler. Was Nightcrawler recent?
Yes.
Anyway, we're getting a lot more
recent-ish,
recently, right? So you play like the 1/3, and then like when you're cooking that curve, you get the Iron Patriot down or whatever it may be, and then into the Viv. Something that I absolutely love doing in the Zombie Galacti deck. So yeah, I already loved her, and this is just makes her more reliable, stronger, and she's just being slept on.
She's so good. I think this card's. I don't think they should have done this one. I don't know. This is the card I feel like we're going to be seeing everywhere now.
I don't think she needed it.
I feel like there's a real chance that maybe she didn't. She's such a great card now. This is a scary card. Like I haven't sweat in Marvel Snap, I think, in previous seasons, but I've decided for some reason that I'm going to start doing it. And so I've used a Viv Vision deck that has a bunch of other cards that are still like Tech and Super Giant or whatever. And I've used that, and I've gone all the way up to like, I'm in 300s, I think, right now, 400s right now, somewhere in that range. Because of this card being so, this 1 point power has mattered so much here. It's such a good card, insanely powerful. It literally changed this card entirely. I don't think it should have released as a 3/4. I don't even know if it should be a 3/4. But it was like, the comparison from 3/2 to 3/4 is a wild way for this card to go.
I think it was Data Mind at 3/4, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Was it?
Yeah, I think it was around the 3/4 range. And I think what it is too.
Was it 3/3 and came out as 3/2? Was it? I can't remember.
I think it was. I believe that is correct. I think it's that. Let me verify.
And it's also still the state of the metagame right now. Like people are still doing some of those Star-Lord things, and with the way people are also doing like Shu Lao stuff, if they're playing Kitty Pryde and they're trying to use their Kitty Pryde to contest Viv lanes, like Kitty Pryde can jump back to the hand before Viv procs. So like there's a lot of just opportunity for this card really to scale. I'm also surprised that this card released like this before Storm came out. Because Storm looks absolutely insane as well. So kind of, looking at that prior to this, I think this is going to add another layer of scaling. And I think this is also going to work well with a bunch of cards, I think, next season, and including some of just the cards this season. Like the 3/4 stat line is really, really good, which is something I was already hoping for, way back when, before we were in the meta we are in now. But now actually seeing it in action, like you said, Dan, I'm like, this is scary. So also, Brian, I know you were. People have been asking me, should I buy Viv Vision now? Should I buy Viv Vision now? And I'm like, I wouldn't spend like the $50 to buy Viv Vision. If you have tokens maybe and you're missing not a lot of key cards, yes. Like I don't think necessarily at this moment to say absolute must have opposed to some of these other cards. It really just depends on what you're missing. But this is a card that is going into conversation now of something that is definitely worthwhile playing.
Rez, do you disagree? What's that face?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty offended by that, to be honest.
Offended?
Yeah, I might have to go, to be honest. It's been a good opportunity, but nah.
That was lying. I mean, I think the card's good. It was also it was Data Mind at 3/3. It also had the end of turn instead of start of turn, which was a notable difference.
Yes. Wow.
And they made that change around the time that we just, turn I think was everywhere. Good change, honestly, still there.
Yeah,
we're gonna have start of turn as a phrase at some point. Who knows when that's gonna happen? But
we have a couple.
Yeah, I mean, true. No, I just mean like I don't know when we're gonna get the official phrasing for it. Is what I meant.
It'll be the superior Spider Vision. That'll be the card for start of turn.
Yeah, it buffs Merlin. It buffs Kitty Pryde. It buffs a lot of cards actually I do really like. So I'd be kind of down. Buffs Mad Thinker.
Okay. So we're hopping off the Cope train now, and we are going to be hopping on.
I'm pretty sure we're back on the Cope train.
Nope. We are hopping off of the Cope train, and we are hopping on to the brand new card train, as we do have
still the Cope train.
The good old. I don't know if it's not Cope. It's not Cope. Nah. This card, which we have come out today, is going to be the good old Rama-Tut. which we have actually the cards that Rama-Tut can actually turn into, which I will make bigger because Dance is about to fuss about this not being super visible.
Make it bigger.
It definitely was.
So
Phrasing still.
Can we get even bigger?
But Rama-Tut's is just so while Tut pulls this up is a 4/5 with the ability use 3 on reveal, use 3 on reveals from before Rama-Tut's time. And I think the most notable part about that is the fact that it's not copying the text. It still has the same text before and after. Use 3 on reveals. But if you look at a card like, for example, we see that Electro is a possibility. Electro, you're not actually you're not actually going to be getting a ongoing ability if you do get that. Mm-hmm. If you somehow get, I believe there is also, Penny Parker. You don't have the merge bonus, right? That's not how this card works. It only is the on reveal that it specifically has with the card. If there's an additional ability there, which I think is only those 2, makes sense. There's a whole list of cards shown on the screen. I think we read them in the past. We're not reading them now. Rez, you also did a video where you actually went over every single, you talked about all this stuff. You even did run them in a generator and stuff like that. I think assuming everything's at the equal odds, you assume that, you're getting them just as the base versions. Different times where stuff's going to be good and bad. How do you feel about this card? Because it's a pretty wild card.
Yeah, so one of the things I love is shield decks, as I said earlier, partly because of the randomness, partly because you like trying to figure out win conditions from all this randomness. So I think Rama-Tut very much speaks to me in that way. So I am super excited for the card, even if he ends up being bad. Or I don't know if again, because as I say, the way that I look at cards is not necessarily from a competitive standpoint. So it's sometimes hard for me to evaluate if they're actually going to be actually meta relevant and actually good. I think the thing with him is that there will be, it's a really interesting one because he's obviously incredibly inconsistent, and usually to be actually good, cards need to be consistent. However, with Rama-Tut, I do wonder if the ceiling is so high, and maybe the downsides will be, because most cards do not have bad on reveals. So I don't know. The sky seems like the limit with this guy. I'm so excited for him.
It's gonna be fun. By the way, this in particular visual is actually made by August. Notable shout out there. I do want to make sure that's pointed out. I think there's some other abilities that are a little bit lower. Yeah, you can see here for Rama-Tut's just got a lot of different options. It's gonna be. I don't know. Tuck, how do you feel about this guy?
So there's definitely going to be RNG inconsistencies with this, but the pros really heavily outweigh the cons. And I say that loosely in the sense because we don't necessarily know what the weight is of getting a good hit opposed to a bad hit. With this, what the roll percentage is to get a 6 cost or to get a 1 cost instead, which is interesting there. But I think from a couple different competitive standpoints, whether it is a ranked game, this is really like a make or break situation. I can snap into it, I can retreat into it, and my opponent doesn't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. But even in a more so conquest standpoint, I think this card gets a bit scarier, in the sense of your opponent knows you're running Rama-Tut, but you need to know what all Rama-Tut can hit, and your opponent needs to know what all Rama-Tut can hit in order to snap and stay around this. I think this is legitimately a game-winning or a game-losing card. That is what it boils down to. Is it either going to win you the game or it's going to lose you the game. And I think from a fun standpoint, I think Rez hit it right on the noggin in his video this week, that it is the epitome of fun card, because the high highs are going to outweigh the low lows. And what Dance was saying earlier too, this does not copy the text of those on reveals. So if you play this on a Wong, you will have the first on reveal go off twice, the second on reveal go off twice, the third on reveal go off twice, And then I do believe you should get another additional on reveal to go off twice.
Is that confirmed? I didn't know that was confirmed.
That's the way I'm reading it, because like that, I mean, that would make kind of like sense. It would start a different loop. Like that's the kind of the way I'm inferring the way that goes. That's how I think Odin would do it. I think because Absman would copy the text of Rama-Tut as well, I believe, but it would be completely different on reveals. And that says, I think there's a bunch of crazy stuff. Of course, as we say in all these videos, we are theory crafters. So we haven't had the hands-on access to fully confirm this is how it's going to happen. But that's like what we've been like theorizing is with the Wong stuff, with even like a Zola, like you Zola Rama-Tut.
I do think. So I do think that's a fair.
With fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think that's a fair assessment though with this card, right? I don't believe in any way, shape, or form this will be like a consistent like when if you somehow get it to reproc. I do not believe it will do the same abilities. It doesn't make sense to me. Because unless there's a world in which like maybe when you grab or you're putting Moira on the board, she shows you the 3 cards that you're generating. Maybe if it does that with him, maybe it is actually in that way.
Wait, no, if Rama-Tut shows you what 3 cards you're about to get on reveals, the card's amazing. Like literally is like one of the best cards ever. Yeah. Which would be interesting because, Kang the Conqueror, the King card shuffles, 4 Kings into your deck and you see what Kangs they are. Which is, Rama-Tut is King. But like if Rama-Tut shows you the on reveals, like that makes this card way better, like competitive standpoint and just in general. So I'm thinking it's going to be more like a Cersei. Like you place Cersei onto the board. You don't know what Cersei is going to transform your other cards into. Same with like the polymorph kind of situation. You know it's going to be one cost higher with, the Cersei or with a polymorph. So I don't think it's going to play that way. That is a interesting idea, though, that I didn't think about, is if it does show you what honor reveals it's going to hit. But I do think that would make the card tremendously.
Why is Dakin in that list? Sorry, I'm just going through everything. All the cards make sense other than Dakin. That's the one. Why is that card here? That just puts a dead card in your hand, which is maybe that's the point of it.
Whoa. A 1/1 is not a dead card.
It's true.
A 1/1 is a very much living. Yes, admittedly.
You think the Muramasa shard is living?
Well, breathing.
Is it?
Barely.
Okay, I don't know the limit of how shards breathe. It's a fair question.
I would argue it's not. It is at least not a bad thing.
No, don't worry. You're getting
like almost the bottom in my tier list.
So
by the way, I'm now we're recording this on a Monday, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I said I was going to get a full tier list video up on Sunday. I didn't. Haven't made one.
No, but you had a tier list in your video, though.
You did have a tier list in the video,
so,
right?
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned the Electro, because I put Electro in the bottom, and one of my viewers commented on the video saying, "Oh no, he's not going to have the ability," and I was like,
"Yep,
set my head to the moon."
But we thought about Mystique.
For what it's worth, again,
that's why we thought it was
true.
bad.
Because it doesn't say copy; it just says use the honor reveals.
Yes. It makes Electro one of the best.
Yep.
No, Electro's actually fantastic. Goes to the I mean, if you want to see his inaccurate tier list, I did say I should have, Rez. Make sure you go check out that video, which has an inaccurate tier list that will be. No, I'm so sorry. It's a great, it's a very good video as well. It does also talk about all the other ins and outs of Rama-Tut. Give you a lot of fun ideas with him. Give you some fun lore as well. If you haven't checked that out, you should go over to RezSnapper's YouTube channel. It's also linked down in the description below. I think he might even be collabing on this video because I think Rev has done that in the past. So absolutely fantastic content there. Great guy. He's also trying to stream more on Twitch. Again, RezSnapper, RezSnapper. Make sure you go follow him over there. Give him over on TikTok, over on Twitter, everywhere. Give him all the support. He's fantastic. We're stoked that he is here with us today. And even if he doesn't know what the Brady Bunch, is relevant to today's society, but there you go.
That's still on, surely.
I don't know how to break the news.
That, surely. I mean, I've never seen it, but we've got like Coronation Street and EastEnders over here. I don't know what your American stuff is.
Is this like that one? I remember what was it? It was Futurama did a bit where they said they were watching Friends live, but it was, again, Futurama was meant to be in like 3000, year 3000, and it just took literally like a millennia just for the signal to get that far? Is that what you're saying? Like you've
Yeah.
been watching Brady Bunch live, but you've had such a bad connection that you've been watching it.
I mean, we literally got HBO Max this weekend. It launched in the UK this weekend, and like, so I have been fortunate enough to have seen The Pit, and I'm up to date with The Pit season 2 in America. And like I went on HBO Max, and I went on there. It's like, oh, we've only got episode 1 of season 2. I'm like, nah, we're cooked.
We're cooked.
Atrocious. What's more cooked, that or the deck list that we have for Rama-Tut?
Well, I want to like note here, like the most interesting thing I would say about this card is there's not a like definitive, I feel like, archetype you're playing this in because of how random and sporadic it is. I feel like you can play this in so many different things, and it really just boils down to what Rama-Tut hits in order for you to kind of win your games. And the first deck we have actually is the Tut Trap over here by Rez, as I get this readjusted. That's decent. But Rez, what was your thought process behind the Tut Goose we got going on over here?
Yeah, so this was, oh man, if I put Goose in there, Goose would kind of work in this. I've only got 2 cards over. Technically, I've only got 1 card over 3, really.
Maybe over Starhawk.
I was gonna say, if you put it Starhawk,
yeah,
Starhawk is.
Yeah.
So why Starhawk in here is my question. I'm sorry, I need to know why that.
We are going to talk about one of the most underrated.
Oh boy!
I just lose
because Maria Hill always gives you Grandmaster.
So,
and Rama-Tut always gets Grandmaster as well. Wait a second, I get it.
So, this is basically the shield trap style deck that I was talking about earlier. So, picture that you have a very like fixed game plan that you want to do with this deck, right? You play in the right location blind for the first few turns, and you fill it up as soon as you can. Obviously, you can't always do that when it gets revealed and it's shenanigan-y or just doesn't work for you or whatever. So you can't always do that. But that's plan A. Block the right location as soon as possible. Try and get a created card in there, be it from Agent 13, Maria Hill, whatever it is. Try and win the location as well. Just playing right in the blind location means you're fractionally more likely to get the Iron Patriot off because your opponent is fractionally less likely to play blind into the right location, typically. And then towards the end of the game, you can do like either like a final turn Gambit as like a bit of surprise, or you do a final turn Victoria Hand. But the real play is the final turn Starhawk. Given that +4 power, it is surprisingly good. And I know that people do not like Starhawk. I sort of like him a lot. And I know it's incredibly niche, but in the style of deck like this, he does have his place. Yes, he's a 2/6, but there is the inherent value of tricking your opponent. And so is there fractional extra value that you can assign to that +4 that you're getting at the right location? There might be. Anyway, and then obviously Rama-Tut just fits in here because you filled the right location. What are you doing? You're doing some crazy stuff. Also, another thing I want to say is, as I love the shield stuff, I'm definitely going to try and, well, I love Rama-Tut anyway. I love the look of him, so I'm going to be playing him religiously anyway. So I would be more likely to want to try and split him as quickly as possible. But also, because quite a lot of the on reveals are going to add stuff to your hand, like a demon, a 2-cost card from Maria Hill. Like, there's quite a lot of add cards to hands thing, or even just generating the zombie horde or whatever. So I need to get him to gold, my preferred finish, as quickly as possible. So it's creating gold stuff because I love that in shield stuff as well. Yeah, that is the idea with this deck, and yeah, Rama-Tut just seems sensible in it because he's adding to the chaos.
Okay. I see the vision. I like it. Okay.
I would love to see you guys try this out.
Starhawk is still the card I question. I'm gonna be honest. Like, you're saying all this stuff, and
I get it.
When you said that you think that, you know, Starhawk has a place here, I do think he has a place, and that's in my collection, staying there, never being used because I'm collection complete, and that's all. That's all he's done.
What about 2/5
helping me.
Starhawk?
I mean, yeah, that'd be cool. But like, we have 2/2 right now, and until this card's better, it'll probably as a 2/3, it'll be playable, but it's
like
not
Toxie
gonna.
Doxie.
Why do you hurt me in these ways?
You said at a 2-3 it'd be playable. All right, Dance. So what have you built here for us?
Erisham stinks, and I think that Rama-Tut stinks. So you just put everything that stinks in the same deck. And honestly, the main reason for Rama-Tut here is I think you want to front load RNG as much as possible, Marvel Snap. So play Rama-Tut on turn 3. Get the extra energy. Do it here. It's either this or Doom 2099. That was what I was thinking legitimately. And I talked about Doom 2099 last time, I think. So I put this here instead. I don't have much for this card. I have no idea. I said Erisham, and this is the place where I think it makes the most sense because it is just pure random, and that's what the deck is.
Okay.
I don't even know. I'm probably not even playing this deck, but it's
Erisham Tech. Yeah, makes sense.
To be fair, I did ask. I said, "Hey, Roram, what deck do you think I should do if I did this?" And he gave me this list. Actually, I put M'Baku in here.
Over like Quinjet.
What was it? It was. I can even check.
Or Loki.
God, it wasn't Loki. I know.
I got hit by Loki yesterday. It was what's it? Black Prism with green fire border. It was the most amazing looking Loki I've ever seen. Actually, boom! I got a screenshot. Here we go. I'm going
fantastic.
rogue. I'm going absolutely rogue.
Oh, it was Cosmo, and Cosmo was fine. I just wanted to do M'Baku. Probably Cosmo is still better. I cannot overstate that I really just wanted to use M'Baku.
Oh, hang on, that's the wrong one. Sorry. That's right.
Bro showing his Tinder page over here instead. It's insane.
Rez does not have a Tinder.
Look at that.
How do you know?
Not the best quality.
We talked about it.
I've got a wife, not a Tinder.
Yeah, I was about to say he's married. He talks about his wife.
But look what they stole from me.
That looks awesome.
I'll post some. Obviously, this micro picture of me in the corner is not doing this justice. I'll post this places, with commentary.
That's cool.
I was just stunned.
That's cool. Yeah, I've seen some very cool VFX on some Gambits. I saw some. He looks good with fire borders.
Oh, yeah. That pink fire in the Tucker video, huh?
Yeah, I don't know how that got there.
Yeah.
I didn't say it's pink fire. I'm pretty sure maybe it's just purple. I haven't seen pink fire officially announced anywhere. It's probably just purple and it looks weird. Tuck, what do you got for a deck?
I have Wicked RNG, which is a Wiccan Rama-Tut deck. You have, of course, your Iron Patriot, your Valentina, Cable, Astral Projection, Copycat, Surfer First Steps, Wiccan, Infinity Ultron, and Emperor Hulkling. So I went full RNG, but dare I say this is based, like super based RNG here.
Astral Projection, I think, is the only card I'm going to say is wrong here, honestly.
That's the one that I've looked at and I'm like, oh my God, that's making me hot and sweaty.
No, because I think it's... Tuck and I, we talked about this like recently. There's like an Astral Projection deck we had a blast with, but I think it was so good because you only had 3 or 4 hits with it. I honestly, if you want to run it, you put Morph in there.
I mean, yeah, you could put Morph in here. I originally had Drax. Like, I just had Drax in here. Not
Avatar
like,
of Life. Oh my gosh.
Avatar of Life Drax.
Sorry,
yeah.
I was thinking base Drax.
No,
I
had Drax.
You had Drax in here?
I had Drax, Avatar of Life. But I think you could put a bunch of different, like, honestly, like 3 costs potentially in the Astral Projection slot. But I was like, early Wiccan's not bad. Early Rama-Tut, early Infinity Ultron, early Hulkling.
Yeah, I'd like to see some extra stones from Ultron. That's cool.
So that was kind of like the idea there. Of course, like, I think this will be very fun. This is probably, I'm going to test some, like, iteration of this because, like Dan said too, like, trying to get your RNG out as early as possible or just have extra energy to mitigate bad RNG is kind of like my thought process there with the Wiccan stuff. So that's why we had this going on over here. You're stealing your opponent's card. They don't know what you stole. Your Valentina created a 6 cost. They don't know what it is. Your Iron Patriot generated a card. They don't know what that is. Your Merlin Great Spells. They don't know. Your Surfer First Steps.
Actually, it could be Gambit. I just realized that
it probably is Gambit. It probably is just Gambit. I I liked Astral Projection because, yes, there's a lot of, on reveals in here. Maybe that's not what you want, but that allows you to have a bunch of fun lines to, like, mess around with, was kind of the thought process. But a probably correct card would be Gambit in this deck.
I think the only reason I still am going to stand by the Astral Projection being wrong is because Merlin is giving you an on reveal each turn.
Yes, but, like, Merlin is, like, I don't have, a 3-cost in hand. I need to continue to go
I
for
agree.
Wicking Curve. Yes, but I agree,
I
agree with you. I just was like,
sorry, I was trying to make sure I was being specific, but I also still agree. We're agreeing with each other.
Yes, we're agreeing with each other. It's called Wicked RNG because it's just absolute chaos. But if you really want to run this deck, and I think there is a world where this deck actually could make sense, it would be with Gambit instead of Astral Projection. Yeah. Or Morph. Morph's fun.
I want to say one more thing. It is the copiest of cope.
Okay.
But I have a gold split of Helicarrier, silver border, looks beautiful, and I do want to run it with Rama-Tut just in case it gets discarded like once in 100 games.
Well, you're playing
That's
a shield deck.
Actually, the most. No, wait, hold up. I that's the one thing I haven't hated. Wait, like legit using Rama-Tut in like a collector discard deck.
Yeah, there's something that I think there is
it's the most interesting I've heard so far.
I think there is enough discard. I don't think Sif is in there. Annoyingly, if Sif was in there, I would, God. But I think there's enough discards that there's something there.
And generators, honestly, for collector as well, for you to be able to get some interesting value, even if you don't hit the discard cards too. Because you have, there's Mirage, Valentina, Iron Patriot, Hood. There's just a couple of those.
Yeah.
That generate cards for you.
Yeah, literally good generators as well.
But this is going to be a week of clip farming for everyone playing Rama-Tut. So it's going to be very, very fun that way. And we don't have any OTAs this week, so people are going to play Rama-Tut the first day and the second day.
We're probably getting
the
new season video this week.
Yes, we should get the new season video, hopefully.
Maybe. I don't know. It's typically from like Friday to like Monday.
Yeah, so. I mean, we'll see. It's also a holiday weekend, so. But
it's gonna be Monday.
Picking Saturday and stuff.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. But don't be surprised, Rama-Tut the first 2 days, and then everyone starts sweating again. But that is what we got going on for Rama-Tut. Before we actually jump into the last section, we wanted to talk about one of the changes that actually happened in Snap this week is they changed the $20 bundles to $30 bundles, and they explained their reasoning behind it. Right, Dance?
Yeah, that one's interesting still to talk about, just all those weird stuff with the new bundles or whatever they're going to do. I've talked about that I've talked about this a little bit already, I think with guests. And so they made the bundles, they made them $10 more expensive, and then they also are now putting 50 or 5,000 tokens in there. Or 5,000 credits, my apologies.
Yeah, credits.
Credits, not tokens. Big difference. And that's a big change in terms of the economics, God, English sucks, of this, right? Because previously we had the $10, $15, $20 bundles, and they were all different versions. Then they consolidated to just the 20, which was a choice that people weren't a fan of already. Then they started doing a little thing where like, hey, what about a month later we start putting these cards back in the shop, in the web shop for a bit. And now they're leaning into that even more. Apparently I was doing well off, because honestly, I've never bought any of the actual bundles when it was just the variant. However, when they first started doing it, which I think was Ozymandias the first one, I picked it up. And actually, I only picked up the $20 version because it was bugged on the web shop for a bit, where you could get it for 20 instead of 30. I haven't gotten punished. So I got it for old price and then 5,000 extra credits. So the only time I've ever bought one of those conditional bundles, but now each and every week I'm looking at them, actually considering them. But if you're someone who really likes just the variants, just the art, it's a lot worse, because now you have to spend not just 10, not 20, it's $30 or 50. Or you wait, and they even said apparently a year and it will be in the vault. They even mentioned that. Like, that was never confirmed. They mentioned it just offhandedly as if it was. Apparently that's what's going to happen. Yep.
Wow.
lots of interesting stuff. How do y'all feel about all of those? I don't know.
I hideously disliked the way they released first when it was like 10, 15, 20. I thought that 10 was sort of, I mean, this is coming from the point of view that Marvel Snap is an unbelievably expensive game for like cosmetics and stuff. Like, it is crazy expensive. I remember when I first joined the game, first played it in beta when it launched in the UK, and I came from Hearthstone and I logged in, which itself is not exactly a cheap game. And I saw like there was like a Captain America welcome bundle, and it was over here it was something like £3.50 or something, and I was like, I remember thinking, oh my god, that is, for just a variant, that is insanely expensive. That was what I thought to a bundle that was £3.50. And then I went on to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds in there. But yeah, so when they first released at 10, 15, 20, I was like, this is wildly expensive. Like, you getting boosters essentially worthless, really. And so I thought that was horrific. So then when they got fixed at 20, still thought it was bad. Didn't buy any of them at that. I will say, now that they're 30, and at least you get the credits in there, so that's the progression, and it's giving you your splits and all that sort of thing. Unbelievably more appealing to me now. Like, I can see myself buying them occasionally now. Not in the immediate term, because I'm about to move house, and so I literally cannot spend any money whatsoever for the next month or two. However, I'm looking forward to moving and then being able to spend money again. Anyway, this is not a life podcast. This is Marvel Snap. No one cares about my
I love that
living situation,
No,
which
we
is
do.
a shame.
We all care. Guys. We will all be there. We will help you move.
Hang on, which way have I got to look now? Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I'm looking forward, because it makes it way more appealing to me to have all of that progression, and it immediately gives you the option to split the card as well and stuff. So yeah, I do think there's a good change, but it's still wildly expensive.
Yeah, I like the change too. For like the extra $10 to get the 5,000 credits, I think is a great change too, because that also allows you to progress further on just like your collection track to get closer to 3,000 tokens again. So I do like that, like for quality of life kind of change there. I do think it is also really interesting that they are re-releasing those cards into different bundles a month later, and you're able to access that bundle even if you don't own the card. So if you miss the card, you can pay the $50 to be able to get the extra bundle, or that you get the card, you'll get a variant, you'll unlock base. And then you can kind of, progress still. So if you fall behind, it's not the worst case, scenario there, but it is $50. So it is interesting to see like these bundles are more and more expensive. And then we also had a bundle this week. Data mines are subject to change, where Galacta was data mined as a gold bundle and now is a $50 just, cash bundle, which is kind of feels bad. But it looks like for them to be doing that, people must still be buying the bundles. So even if Snap might not be the way it was before, viewership-wise or whatever, people are still spending money. So that's why they're adding more incentives to spend money. And I think those bundles that actually are the $30 now are actually good bundles to buy for $30, opposed to just being completely cosmetic. And I got 400 boosters, but I can't really spend anything on these boosters. So I think that's just a good quality of life change there. Just in general.
I like it.
But yeah, that's the gist of that breakdown over here. We are going to go through kind of quickly these X-Men End of Days kind of cards here. But we wanted to get Rez's takes on them because he is also one of the new card guys. So we wanted to see kind of, his general thought process on the brand new season, of course, subject to change, like we said. Cards, as we do start off with good old Strife 4-6 objective. Play 3 on reveal cards. Use the highest cost on reveal in your hand.
Yeah, this seems pretty crazy. We had like the sort of like off month or off couple of months. Wait, was there only one? Yeah, it was only one. This season has been so long. The off month of like, oh, we haven't got a completely broken season pass card. This is starting to feel absolutely crazy. The fact that he first of all, unbelievably easy objective to achieve, like totally like it's not even a question. You can do this easily, and he's probably easily by turn 4. And then the fact that he's targeting your highest cost on reveal, that means it's giving you access to Xiao the red dragon thing, the green dragon, Fin Fang Foom. It's giving you access to like combos and stuff. Yeah, this seems
like this.
Yeah, absolutely crazy.
It does use the ability though, so your card will not be able to proc that on reveal again later.
That's the big thing. Again, similar to Rama-Tut, which is cool. So also, I'm just gonna play 2 goblins in that lane, something else, and then Strife just triggers collectives.
And they don't have to be on the board. It's just play. It doesn't say have 3 on reveals on the board, so you can play skills. Merlin's skills also count. As cards that were on revealed. So a lot of crazy stuff there with Strife. And then honestly, I kind of am more excited for Techno-Organic Virus than I actually am for Strife. I don't know if that's crazy or not, but it is the super premium data mine season pass card, a 1-cost on reveal. Copy this to your hand with +2 cost, infect your other cards here, and replace their text. And of course, the infected cards, like the infection is, infected cards have ongoing +1 power for each Techno-Organic Virus you have played, which means the amount of skills you have played, correct? Like this is playing the skill out opposed to the amount of cards affected in play.
Yes, it is. It's saying how many times you've basically played this card, copies of this card in particular. It's it's going to be a very fun one. Rez, what have you thought about Techno-Organic Virus? Again, I don't think your video, you haven't talked about this stuff yet. But what have you? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I've been cooking the video. Yeah, very cool, very interesting. Really like the various synergies. Like the thing I'm most excited for this one is maybe Nightmare. Obviously, you've got like the Sauron sort of Nightmare decks were the kind of, you had like the 2 paths in that, either go the Sauron route or the Nightmare route. I think maybe this is like a new deck where you play Nightmare alongside this, and then again you've got 2 routes, but it's, I think for me personally, a more interesting route than doing Sauron or Nightmare. So I'm interested by that. I think there's some interesting synergies, like Quinjet's going to reduce the copies and stuff, so nudges it down a bit cheaper, and it's just very interesting. This is a very different card that we've not seen before. So yeah, I'm interested to try this one. It's cool. Very cool design.
Yeah, I like the Sauron shout. I think I would actually swap out Sauron for this, and I would run Mobius, because then with Mobius it always costs 1. So
you want to hear another weird shout? You want to hear a different shout that's also going to work?
I have some slides to update.
Well, can I give you another slide to go with then? To cope even more? Black Swan doesn't care about cost increases. She cares about base cost and will always set it back down to 0.
So you could.
So if you copy this,
yep. Yeah.
This would be a really fun one. I don't know if you've updated, if you have the updated graphic for Wolverine, who's the next card coming out, Tuck, because it has changed according to data mines. It now is, this has 5 or more power for the objective. Give 1 of your cards at each location +3 power. So it's 5 now is the current ability according to data mines.
Okay, and I don't think I personally updated this version, but something I had thought about originally. I literally was driving earlier and I was like, okay, I'm thinking about these cards in the new season, getting prepped and everything too. And this is a very expensive, okay? But like Victoria hand card, like this goes to a 4/5 on, like it'll be ongoing, of course, with the created, and then giving 3 of your cards at other locations, or 3 of your cards at each location +3 power is good. I don't think that's like necessarily the immediate home for this, but finding a way just to buff this card, to be able to buff your other cards, is going to be something that's really cool. And getting copies of this and stuff, because the way objective cards work. I don't know necessarily how high I rate this. We'll of course be talking about this like next week in that sense for a deeper dive, but I think this is interesting. I think this is a very interesting way to just do a lot of onboard kind of procs.
Yeah, agreed. I've not started my videos or slides, for this card yet, so I haven't delved too deep into my thought of it. But my immediate thought is like I quite like Nomura stuff, so I would explore that kind of stuff with him. He doesn't seem mind-blowingly good. Like your you've got to get a little. You've got to get him to I guess 5 now, which yeah, it's not hard, but you've got to put in the legwork, and then maybe the juice is not worth the squeeze here. But I don't know. He seems fine.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a fine card. I don't know if it's gonna be crazy, but it definitely feels at least okay. And I'm excited to see how this one does land.
414's pretty good.
And yeah, I mean 414. It's not atrocious to ask. It's not even. It's not. Is it 414? It goes to only need 2 points, and it adds it to each location, which by the way can buff itself once you get the extra points on it, and that can also be from a locational buff. Yeah, it has a lot of good ways for this card to get points, and it's only you need 2. It's
the artwork that's phenomenal.
Gosh, on all the variants too.
Yeah, it's true. Such a strong season for art.
Well, I'm gonna give you potentially one of the weakest ones. I'm with the Ascani Sun. But by the way, this is Cable. I think this is a very weak in terms of base art, by the way. But I actually think it's a really sick ability. With the activate ability, 2 cost, 3 power, create a 1 cost card at another location. However, the interesting line here is increase the cost each time you're winning here as the turn starts. So, talking about start of turn of thing, right? But start of turn, if you're winning here, increase that cost. So it makes it a 2 cost if you're winning here. Again, that's just 1 turn, and people typically aren't playing into the lane. If you play into a lane that's empty, you get 1 trigger. You can get 2, and that's already is a 2 cost that gives you a free 3 cost in another lane. So it's this is very real. I know, Tuck, you don't typically do videos on the Series 4 cards, but I know, Rez, what have you thought about again, this is one, I know as we get further out, you probably thought less and less, but how do you feel here?
Yeah, I haven't started the video on this yet, but absolutely love it. It's so in my wheelhouse. It's speaking to Viv. It's speaking to my shield sort of randomness and generating. Also, just there's not like masses of, especially cheap cards that add cards in other locations. I mean, I guess you have got Mysteria, you have got Linley and all that sort of thing. But I just in general, I like adding. Yeah, there's not a lot. And cool card as well. And again, it's those micro puzzles of like, oh, I'm going to try and win this location sort of thing. Yeah, I absolutely love the look of this. It's so cool.
It's very interesting because it is activate, so like you can't activate it necessarily till turn 3, and like winning the location until turn 6. On turn 6, that card would turn into a 4 cost, which can be pretty cool. Of course, going into like turn 7, if you're winning, could go to a 5 cost. That's like probably where this would get like potentially crazier there if you have like perfect curve for that. So there's definitely going to be some very interesting games. I'm not super high on this card for sure. But what I do like that it is a game mode card. I like that this is going to be a card you maybe won't have to spend resources on. It's something that you're going to be playing game mode potentially to earn. We don't know what game mode, but it's data mine as an LTE kind of card. So it's going to be very interesting to kind of, see how this card, shows out in that sense. Whereas this card here might be even more of a cope card this season, which is Archangel Horseman of Death, which is the other Horseman of Death. So you have Gambit, and then you have Archangel here, which is a 2/3 objective. Your cards are destroyed 4 times. So like if you destroy cards 4 times, resurrect 1 here with +4 power. So it does revive a card that's been destroyed that's in your destroy pile. It's just going to be interesting to see how this works. I think this might be a card I would use with that Weapon X deck potentially as well, because trying to get some of those cards on the board kind of thing. But you're not guaranteed necessarily the card you want. It really just boils down to what is in your destroy pile.
But you can still cut it, like narrow that destroy pile down by destroying cards that don't actually go back to that pile with Headpool, Sabertooth. I'm saying the ones that are bad because it's more fun to cope there.
Well, Headpool is better than Sabertooth, but
true. Yeah, you're not wrong at all. This is going to be it's going to be a fun card. I don't know if it's good, but I'm excited by this one.
Yeah, I agree. I've really come onto the resurrection stuff purely down to Tucker, actually. Tucker's video, you've done at least a couple of videos on like revive stuff, and love doing the stuff like Sage, Cassandra Nova, and Dragon. I absolutely love reviving Dragon of the Moon. That's so cool. Yeah, it's huge. I think the thing that kills it is the objective on this. The fact that you can narrow that pool, as you said, Dance, by with like using the self-resurrecting cards, but the fact that it's going to just pop off whenever you've achieved it makes it a bit more difficult. It's cool, cool artwork.
With that, I was thinking about it, but I'm pretty sure looking at the most recent card, Celine, I don't think she triggers if she doesn't have a card to steal from. Does she? If you have enough
she wouldn't be able to, right?
I mean, Gambit still triggers if you can't destroy cards.
That's true. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe it's not a thing. Okay, I don't know.
But a card has to be there to steal, I think.
Then a card has to be in the pile to resurrect. I don't know. It's yeah, it's weird.
I think the objective still procs. It just you don't get the plus ability because you don't get to do steal. Because Gambit, like, you can have Gambit go off, but like if the cards are 5 costs or higher, Gambit doesn't destroy anything, but the objective still went off. But a lot of those situations, I haven't had an extra turn afterwards to see if it procs again.
There's a lot of really cool cards that they've added, and with when they added the activate mechanic, basically, they first released a card that didn't work with the activate mechanic with Symbiote Spider-Man. You couldn't reactivate it. And when the first objective card that we got of En Sabanor doesn't work with objective cards. When an objective, all the objectives check at the same time, and then they all trigger. So if for some reason your En Sabanor pulls, let's imagine a Gambit Horseman of Death, Gambit won't trigger if it's the final turn of the game. And so as much as I'm liking these cards, looking at Polaris, Horseman of Death, I would love to be able to run, or Horseman of Pestilence, I'd love to be able to put Polaris in the same deck that I could use the other Horseman of Pestilence with Caliban, or even Horseman of Famine with Celine. Because both of those just innately trigger her, done. However, it doesn't actually get to work unless you do it a turn early, which really sucks in terms of objective timing. And so I'm stoked with this card. I think it's going to be good probably inside of like generic Affliction because it says any cards in play. But it doesn't make sense to me that they trigger in this weird way, because now they just don't work together. And why would you have that? Also, why does she have Dr. Octopus's arms? And I've just noticed that.
Tentacles are popular.
Guess so.
That's true. This card's gonna be good though. I think something really cool about this, it is cards in play. It doesn't say like your opponent's cards in play. So like you also could have an anti-venomed card, and it would go ahead and proc Polaris.
It wouldn't work there
as well too. Cards in play afflicted with minus.
It's not afflicted. It's set.
I mean, Ajax looks at it though.
Nope, doesn't.
Ajax has looked at it for me.
I remember when. Maybe Ajax looks at you differently than he does for me, but in the past when I've tested it, I remember Ajax missing on it. Unless that interaction has changed and I've been unaware of it. In the past, initially, he didn't do it. But I'll be proven wrong, and I'll accept that.
And then also,
I didn't think it worked.
Laufey, easy proc.
Yes.
Hazmat, super easy.
Second Dormammu skill.
Second Dormammu skill. Like, this card's going to be, and it's a 2 cost. Like, this is really, really good, especially for those Affliction style decks where you're wanting to get additional cards onto the board. You may not have the energy for it. Like, this is going to be very solid.
Yeah, adding to the green cards that add a card from your hand list of cards.
Yeah,
which is
that's true.
She can even counter
Does Isan have a bit of green in them?
Isan,
because that could be a 4.
There's a variant probably that is, but not.
Yeah, the
normally.
Horley variant has kind of like a green hue to it.
It does. That's the most you can get.
Somewhat chartreuse.
Somewhat chartreuse. True.
There you go.
There you go.
True.
And then after Polaris, we have this.
The most busted card of the entire month.
This is
insane.
A Series 4 card, Mother Ascani, 4 cost, 4 powered, on reveal. Give the leftmost card in your hand plus 2 power and -1 cost, then copy it.
This is the most.
What are they doing?
I've talked about it many times how I thought that we've had a lot of copiers, we have too much stuff, and then we're getting Mother Ascani, and I'm like, really? Yeah, they nerfed Frigga to give us Mother Ascani. That's the secret, and it's just like, what? I don't know. I guess it's the same logic for when they've released Stick, which if you've seen that in the past, just watch any of our videos that we've talked about data mines. But like, God, this card's insane. I don't know why they're releasing this one.
Yeah, does this really release like this? It's so hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
God, this will be, as much as we're to say Shu Lao and stuff, like, I think this is just gonna be the best card in Marvel Snap.
Also, it
And-
might be the card with the, like, listen, guys, if you're into this, cool. I don't think this art or this character looks particularly interesting, but this ability is so cool. It's like the widest sort of difference, right, between amazing ability and what the hell is this? It's a monk.
Well, this is isn't this Rachel Summers, one of the kids of
Oh, is it Rachel Summers?
Yeah, I think this is future Rachel Summers, I believe.
Damn, she looks cooler in the artwork I've seen.
Speaking of cooler in the artwork, Storm Horseman of Famine potentially has. Thank God they're releasing this, because Storm has such banger artwork, and I'm down. Give her a new splash of it. Recently, as of the most recent OTA, Datamind actually changed to be a 3/1 now, with the objective ability end 2 turns in a row with unspent energy, and then the trigger is give your other cards here and in your hand +2 power.
That seems pretty good, right? You know?
It's not. It's a very easy trigger.
If you got 7 cards in hand, which you can do, you can for sure do. Snow Garden, Kate, or just have other cards. That's 14 power, right? Then +2 at the other. For the other, that's like 6. So that's like 20. Then you like Invisible Woman it. That's like 40.
The best part about this is that it also doesn't say it needs to be on the board or in hand. It just is whenever. So turns 1 and 2, I skip.
Yeah, High Eva loves this card. Star Lord, Master of the Sun loves this card. Warlock and Sunspot love this card. Yeah,
it doesn't need to be all of it. It's just any unspent energy. Again, it's just the same logic. It's
Magus loves this card too.
True.
Oh god. You found Magus synergy.
Yeah, that's what like KM was
There you
talking
go.
about when May just got the update to 2 cost. This is gonna be very interesting. This and Mother.
True.
Ascani
You could
are
use.
good.
Oh my gosh, you could even use her with Magus or Mag. I don't know. I've given up how to say the name.
You float turn 1, you play Magus turn 2. You float turn 3, activate Magus.
No, 2 turns in a row.
Yeah, or 2 turns in a row. Okay, so you float turns 3 and 4. Well, actually, it's unspent energy. So I mean, but it's 2 in a row. You could actually you can find a way.
So your play
You can
still
float-
works if you
play Magus on turn 3.
you just have to. And 4, yeah, that would be the play. Is the answer.
Or you play Sunspot turn 2, Magus 3. You're still unspent energy.
You can even do Sunspot turn 1 even if you wanted to, right?
Yeah,
Just
but
if
it's
you
not
really
like you
had
just
to-
unspent all your energy. It's just have unspent energy.
Yeah, having one single point of month energy is enough.
Yeah.
This is there are some sick cards coming out this month or that month, right? We don't have the video of nothing of that yet, but if you had your favorite out of all these cards, whether it be the ability, the other looks, or just the character, like which is the card you're most excited for by any of those metrics?
God, it's probably a Skarn. It's probably a Skarny Sun. Just 'cause
Really?
I know it's not the best, but that's probably the one I'm most excited for, just because that's the one that I'm most like. Like, I'm definitely getting gold on this guy as soon as possible.
This is Cable as well,
although,
right?
yeah, I think so. As I gather.
Did you know his? Sorry, I was gonna say his Hasbro Legend variant is messed up. In all the rest of his art, it's his left arm that is this weird version, but only in the Hasbro Legend, it's messed up. It's reversed.
I didn't even know they'd done a figure of that. How the hell am I still
Yeah,
waiting for the big wheel and they've bloody made Ascani Sun?
Do you know they say what movie was it? There was some movie where I think it was Spider-Verse. They were told they cannot talk about Big Wheel. Marvel is. It was an interview they did. I don't remember it, but I'll try to see if I can find it later. They're scared of it.
That's
Speaking of being scared of it, I'm terrified of Mother Ascani. But what I'm stoked for the most is Techno-Organic Virus. I think that card's just so cool.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that.
card.
And then Polaris. I think those are probably.
That's fair stuff.
Polaris is going to be really, really cheeky. Like, and especially like even like Ajax Wiccan stuff. Like this card is going to be insane.
I can't wait for it. It's going to be a lot of fun stuff. But not as fun as it's been having Rez on the pod today.
Yeah, no, we've had an absolute blast having Rez, which Dance already said earlier, but we're going to repeat it again. If you guys are not following Rez on any of his socials, please make sure you guys follow him at the bare minimum on all of them. Whether that is
at the bare minimum, everything.
The YouTube.
It's not a joke.
The that threw me off. That
If you
face
can
dance,
stand it.
that face dance, man, I've never seen before. That completely just threw me off.
Have you ever seen the inverted heart? That's the one you really want to go for.
Oh my goodness.
No. Sorry, you told me not to.
Okay. But anyway, please make sure you guys follow Rez on all the
understood.
socials. They'll be down in the description below. But yeah, it was an absolute blast having you here on the Yap. We're definitely gonna need to have Rez back again at some point. And if there's anything you would like to tell the lovely viewers / listeners, what would you like to say, Mr. Snappers?
I just want to say that I have had an absolutely lovely time. This has been so great being with you guys. Getting to speak to you for the first time, Dance, as well, properly. It's been really cool. And yeah, I love you guys. I love Yap. And yeah, just really appreciate you guys inviting me on.
Glad you could be
Make
here.
sure you're following these guys, huh? The double.
There you go.
Following, liking, you could dream about them. Yeah, if you're a true
Speaking
fan.
of dreams, if you have made it to the very end, comment, use the word pool in your comment somehow, as that is the first stream he had of us in the pool. Use that in your comment. Doesn't have to be referencing the dream, just the word pool in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and we say thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy the video, definitely feel free to like, comment, pool, like Dan said, subscribe if you're new, subscribe to all the channels. We love you all. It's been real. God bless, and laters.